Our opinions aren't too tough, rough, or gruff. We are proof that you don't have to be an expert to have an opinion. So just
Shut up and sit down.
This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. Plus Alex.
Ooh, I like that. That
like that.
was nice.
That hit right?
It did.
Yeah, I felt good.
All right. Maybe we'll work through this maybe a rebranding process. Who knows?
Yeah.
As an introduction, with this first time listeners, I am Muff, the original degenerate, the degenerate of degenerates, and the person who tries to talk a bunch on this show.
I'm Jim, the Ohio Homer. Alex?
Sorry, I thought there was more. I thought I had more to go. I'm out. The medical degenerate. I've been on call all weekend, so I'm a little sleepy.
Fair enough.
Happy Independence Day to Alex.
Saving the world one nearly severed limb at a time.
So, Jim, I was looking for a little bit more. Not looking, I was anticipating a little bit more in your introduction. I was hoping that maybe you were inspired. Was by George Shea, the guy who announces the hot dog eating contest?
No.
Maybe gain some inspiration from what he does.
So the hot dog eating contest I can do, but it's like I'm in it and I'll watch it and it's over and I don't talk about it. Like as far as I can talk about Joey Chestnut and what happened, but I don't think about it. I block it from my memory because it's pretty gross and I can't do hot dogs.
I'm assuming Alex did not get a chance to watch this.
No, I watched the only part of it I watched is another part that we will highlight on.
Okay, we're going to talk about. Okay. It was a pretty interesting week in sports. Kevin Durant.
Eventful.
Was. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Both above the fold on the front page again. The Big Ten and Kevin Warren made some moves.
Are we going to give it? Is Kevin getting credit for this? We'll talk about it in a minute, but
You know what I mean?
Gotta take it the good and the bad, buddy.
I don't know.
And then Joey Chestnut also making his claim to potentially be the story of the week and the hero that we all deserve on Independence Day.
Yes.
So we'll chat about the Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest briefly before we get into some more traditional sports talk. Joey Jaws Chestnut was the winner again. What was it? 61 dogs?
Oh yeah, I think it was there. It was a lot.
Yeah, which was shy of his record. I think to beat his record he'd have to do 76, if I remember correctly. But not the story.
Hot dogs in a year.
Yeah, I had two.
Every once in a while on a special occasion, but I don't want to eat that many.
I think I had two this weekend, and this weekend is probably when I eat the most at any one time.
I eat hot dogs out of necessity. We're having hot dogs, and I'm at somebody's house. I'm like,
yeah, exactly. You say, okay, fine.
All right.
I mean, I wrapped mine in bacon and then put them on the grill.
Now that you say that, if Muff brings forth the moink dogs, I will.
Yeah.
I will eat those.
It's pretty good. Put some bacon around it. Put it on the grill.
Yeah.
Toss some relish or something on the top of them. It's a good time.
Yeah, I ain't mad about that.
But Joey Chestnut did more than just eat a shit ton of hot dogs. Joey Chestnut also was part of thwarting a protester who was tried to be front and center on the telecast. I did not see this.
Yeah.
I was watching it live, and they did well to cover it up.
Mm-hmm.
Jim was also watching.
Still win and take the time to choke slam someone.
It was impressive. First off, he had a hell of a lead.
Yeah. When
the protester came up, protester kind of just shoulder chucked Joey, who had a broken foot. Let's just put that out there.
He was he was playing Big Ben in football season, right?
Yeah.
He always has the walking boot on.
He shoulder chucks him. Joey's mouth full. Turns and realizes who shoulder chucked him. And is like, oh, not today. And just grabs him for those who, this is podcast land, grabs him by the throat, like wraps it, headlocks him, and just slings him away. It was epic.
And keeps eating and still.
And yeah, just keeps on gnawing down on them dogs. Didn't miss a beat. I mean, I'm sure he probably lost a couple dogs in the count because of
That's
this.
what I'm saying. Would he have beat his record this year?
No.
Do you think that was 5 dogs worth of time?
Well, he needed like 15 dogs.
I thought you said his record was 76.
He only ate like 61
Yeah.
this
No, I
year.
heard he ate 71.
No, it was 61. No, they were saying that he was not on pace from the start. Like he was behind.
Yeah.
They've got this all mapped out, Alex. They know how many hot dogs you got to eat a minute.
Gotcha.
Gross.
So what are we going to say? Like 250 calories a hot dog and bun combo? Or is it a little bit more?
Yeah, it's right about there, I think.
So that's like, about 15,000, 16,000 calories.
How your body even handles that is beyond me.
I don't know. And he's not a dunker either, right? Or is he a dunker?
He does. He dunks it in water. The bun's in water, yeah. Is that what's most like? Is that the thing that you hate most? Is the texture?
Yeah.
That texture water bun situation.
That's disgusting. I can't do it.
If we were ever to have any type of food eating contest that we would sponsor and potentially participate, what would it be? Like,
I'm big into the pie.
If the show was going to sponsor this,
I would push for a pie
wings.
contest.
What'd you say, Alex?
Chicken wings.
Chicken wings. What about chicken nuggets?
Yes.
Did
I don't
you see
know.
the chugging contest part? Where they chugged that huge thing.
The lemonade? Badlands Booker?
I would throw up. I can't chug anything.
That's a bad man. And he wrote like 2 songs that were released during the pre-telecast. Him and George Shea, the guy that does the announcing, did like a little hip hop rap song, and it was an interesting combination of people in a recording. That's all I'm going to say.
I've seen a guy eat 32 chicken nuggets drunk. He went to McDonald's and said, "I want 32 chicken nuggets." And it was.
So did they give him like 8 4-counts?
I watched him do the math. It was hilarious. It was
So like a 20, a 10, and 2 bonus nugs.
I was also drunk with this gentleman, so I can't tell you exactly the breakdown, but it was funny to watch them do the math. It was a good time.
So how many chicken nuggets do you think you could eat in? We'll not do 10 minutes because I don't think any of us can sustain any type of this for 10 minutes. Let's just say 5 minutes. How many chicken nuggets would we eat in 5 minutes?
Oh, I could probably do that 32 in 5 minutes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Would it be more though? If you knew that you were trying to up the ante, what would be the number you think you'd be shooting for in 5 minutes?
I think I would shoot for 64 in 5 minutes.
That's about 12 a minute, Jim.
Yeah, I think I could do that.
That's a nug every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I would choke.
Yeah.
What would be the strategy? How many nugs at a time?
2.
2 at a time.
I don't think that I could eat that many, period, in a sitting. Like, I think I would throw up.
Oh, you'd be hurting.
What would be your
rule
drink of
about-
choice?
You'd have to do water. But you can't get over full.
Alex, water?
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, I pretty much drink water. That's all I drink. So
Is there a rule about like throwing up?
yes.
Yeah.
You cannot reverse. There cannot be a reversal.
But how long after?
I don't know what the time limit is. I'm guessing
Like, as soon as
it's
they hit that, if he's just like,
well, I think in Nathan's, whatever's in your mouth, whenever that 10-minute, the hot dog eating contest, whatever's in your mouth at that 10-minute mark, you have to get it down. And I don't know what the time length is after it all is swallowed is to a reversal. I don't know if that's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I don't know.
Reversal.
I mean, that's a good point, though. It's our contest, so it's our rules. I think you should have to be able to. Once the bell dings and it's over, you got at least a good 3-minute window. You have to keep that stuff down.
How about 5 minutes? As long as it took you to eat it, as long as you have to keep it down.
Sure, I'm okay with that.
5 minutes. Jim says 64. Alex, you're not into this. This is not your thing.
I know myself, and like I can't shotgun a beer, not because I can't handle like the alcohol. I like physically cannot take that much intake that quickly. Like if I chug a water, I can make myself nauseous. Like I think the whole concept of this, I can't fathom eating something very fast like that on purpose.
Okay. I would aim for 50 just because I think 10 a minute is realistic for me.
I think it's funny because before Jim said like 64 and you're like, how many chicken nuggets could you eat in 5 minutes? I'm like, maybe 20. I could probably eat 20 nuggets in 5 minutes.
Maybe I don't know, Jim. Maybe we'll put this into being.
Yeah, I do prep time if we're gonna do that.
Prep time. You seem pretty confident in that 64 number.
Well, you know what I mean. Like I can't do it at like, hey, you've had breakfast and lunch. Now let's do this contest. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, it's not just gonna show up at your door with
hey, let's do this.
Nuggets.
Yeah.
Alex, if we go visit Jim this summer or during football season, this will be happening and you will be filming.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get it out there. For everybody,
we're still in the intro.
For everybody that was wondering, this episode is very much chicken related now.
This is chicken related.
It's an ongoing theme. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day last week, as Bobby Bonilla collected, as he always does on July 1, for his $1.19 million check from the Mets. Bonilla is right now 59 years old and is going to continue to collect this until 2035.
That's insane. Like I say that every year.
Happy retirement.
Right.
The Mets official that negotiated this contract has got to just be kicking himself.
Yeah, because it wasn't like Bonilla helped them win a World Series. Like, if there was an investment, they're like, oh, during his time there, they won 2 or 3 World Series and blah, blah, blah. Then you might be able to justify, like, okay, he helped the franchise, but he didn't.
Insane.
Yeah. Be sure to follow us at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, sportstuffw/Jim _ Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, rate, review, like, retweet, hit the bell.
Smack that.
All on the floor. And this takes us into Jim. The off season.
Was that the last one?
I think so.
I think we'll still be talking about the off season. It just may not be very much.
Yeah, because now we do the breakdowns.
Right. That's going to be part of the off season, right?
But we'll see.
64 days to NFL football.
Mm-hmm.
How many days to college football?
So good.
I don't know how many days. I think it's like
it's a little it's like,
less.
That was literally you had one job, Jim.
Well, I've just moved. My things are all discombobulated. Get off me.
Hey. We just moved.
That's true. Big shout out to Muff for helping me move. Big shout out. You guys have no idea the amount of appreciation, Muff.
It was a fun time.
My family has for you and I.
It was a fun time. I enjoyed it.
Snaps from Muff.
Snaps from Muff.
Snap. There you go. Bring out the snaps, Alex. This week, the offseason is going to have not only the tune of NFL football, but we're also going to talk about some of the college game. Because some big things happened. Well, a big thing happened, which is going to lead to more big things in the future, I believe. In the NFL, as Jim said, next week, we're going to start our breakdown and our guesses, best guesses for each NFL division, the winners, the losers, the win-loss records, and we will start next week on July 11th episode with the NFC West division.
I'm ready.
I'm excited.
I have a little notebook. I've gotten just for football season.
You've already started?
I mean, I haven't started yet, but I got the little notebook.
I was gonna say, man, you already make me feel like I'm way behind.
No, I just have the notebook ready.
Okay.
Is this also going to be like your betting notebook too?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like I think this
Ooh.
is going to carry me through football season.
All right.
We'll auction that later.
Yes, whenever I'm a millionaire at the end of the season. You mean?
That's it. That's it.
Uh,
In the NFL, Terry McLaurin signs a 3-year extension worth up to $70 million with "We Are the Commanders." Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Oh,
Jim,
Scary Terry.
Scary Terry doing good things. Is this a good move for Scary Terry?
I think it's a good move for him. I can't argue that point.
Is after this deal, is he still going to be worth this much money at the end of this deal, or this is my concern for Terry McLaurin in this situation. Carson Wentz is throwing him the ball.
I was just thinking the same thing as Muff. I was going to say, is he going to be worth this not because of who he is as a player, but because of the people surrounding him to prop him up.
I guess this is a wait and see. He may be the only salvation the
That was what-
Commanders have.
That's another good point. Is he the only saving grace? That he gets dumped so much that he is.
Yeah, he might be the only one that gets the ball.
Wait. He's the saving grace. Don't they have somebody on the defensive side of the ball that you think is the best thing since sliced bread? And
No, that's not true. That's not true. I do not think he's the best thing since sliced bread. I think he is good.
Talking about what's his name, Jim? Mr. Young?
Mr. Young, Mr. Chase Young. I think
Yeah.
he's good. But whatever happened to him last season, woof.
So if Terry McLaurin isn't the best thing since sliced bread, is he like the best thing since Uncrustables?
Terry McLaurin's good, man. He's not the greatest. You really trying to catch me in this.
He's a solid receiver.
He is. I know. He's a very good receiver. He's top 10 receiver in my mind. I don't know where he falls in that top 10, but he's top 10.
He's pretty reliable too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he's pretty steady, which I kind of like about him. I'd rather have someone steady like him, I think, than someone who has like 2 big games all season and then the rest of the time it's kind of a flop.
Yeah. Also, this past week, some more news about suspensions. Alvin Kamara is expected to be suspended at least 6 games. As people may recall, he got into a fight in Vegas during Pro Bowl week. Pro Bowl week is actually the day before the game, if I remember right.
Yeah.
I would be scared as hell to fight him.
Yeah.
I said that then, but he scares me. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the way his face. He makes me nervous whenever he takes his helmet off and looks.
And he's not appealing that either. He's going to take the 6.
He's going to take it. So Kamara, you got at least 6. We're still waiting on the Deshaun Watson decision to come down, although the reports have been that it will be indefinite of at least a year. And let's not forget that Calvin Ridley.
Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Indefinite for at least a year. Like
an indefinite period of time that will be at least a year long.
That doesn't make any sense. And
a year at the shortest, the longest is not have a cap. Is how I look at that.
Yeah.
So like you were grounded indefinitely for at least 3 days. Means that before 3 days, there's no chance you getting ungrounded.
Yeah.
After 3 days, I'm not really sure how I feel yet. How many more days will be added on?
Okay, but let's take a look at the Deshaun Watson. Like, not necessarily what he's done. I think that's been well documented.
Oh, you well documented it last week for us.
Let's talk about like the guy as a player who sat out for a year may get another year suspension. He comes back in 2023, 24.
Can he?
Yeah.
Can he? Is he worth it? Is he?
So what has been said, and I guess this is the way the contract reads, is if he's suspended, we'll just say a year. Just use the year as the.
No. You're taking this the wrong route. I'm not saying can he logistically. I'm saying physically. If you've sat out of the game that long, this is the same argument they made about
Colin Kaepernick.
Kaepernick, thank you. Can he?
Yes, I think he's still young enough.
At least he's at the Browns. That it all adds up.
If it's Browns, flush it downs.
You know what that's it. Like, I just don't see it as a feasible thing. If he gets the indefinite year,
Mhm.
I think it's a death sentence for his
Yeah.
career.
You know, he gets the party sentence of 6 to question mark.
Yeah.
1 to question mark in this case. And let's not forget, not amidst all of this mess, but Calvin Ridley's still 1 year suspended for his gambling situation.
Yeah.
Let's mix all of that in and let's just
I
toss
will
this
say
at the
that-
wall for a second and say Calvin Ridley has a year. Alvin Kamara was charged with a crime.
But
And Deshaun Watson has at least 24 civil suits against him. And Alvin Kamara is the only one of these that is in stone right now.
so I think that Calvin Ridley a year and Alvin Kamara 6 months is reasonable. I think that where I get mad is that Deshaun Watson could have the same as Calvin Ridley.
Potentially less.
I'm going to push back a second. Why do you think Ridley a year and
Because-
Kamara 6 months is legit?
Because I think that the reason that Ridley is a year is because he tampered with something within the league. So he gambled on his own team. I'm not saying that it did change anything or that he tried to change anything, but that potential is there. I mean, you look at like the old like gambling scandals from days of old that have like gotten them kicked out of leagues, barred from the Hall of Fame, etc. And then Alvin Kamara got a fight. I mean, I think one had to do with on the field, one had to do with off the field. And I think when you do stuff on the field that tampers with the league, potentially you're going to get a higher punishment. That being said, you know where I stand. And I think that I think if I would say it should be like 6 months, 8 months, forever.
Okay. That sentence there. I go with that.
I'm just saying out of the two, I'm like, okay, I'm not horrifically mad about the fact that Alvin Kamara is less than Calvin Ridley. As long as
Oh, get him.
Uh-oh.
Screenshot him.
Alex. Oh no.
I'm the frozen one now. I was the frozen one, wasn't I?
You were.
Damn it.
Now you know
I
what
made
it
it
feels
this long.
like.
I know I made it this long. I thought you guys were just really like in deep ponderance about what I said.
Sure. Sure.
All right. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, so we'll see. Alvin Kamara, like we said, gonna take this one on the chin, and Calvin Ridley doesn't have a choice. He's taking it on the chin too. We'll see where the Deshaun Watson ends up. I'm gonna guess this is gonna get resolved in the next week or two. I'm hoping this week. Just for clarity.
I don't know.
Just for clarity.
Yeah.
Is that 64 days from the preseason?
I think it's to the first Thursday game.
It's 54 days for college football, by the way.
2 months, Alex. 2 months.
Ugh,
God, I'm so excited.
life is moving so fast.
Speaking of life moving fast, for the Pac-12, life catches up to you quick. The Big Ten shakeup is USC and UCLA are slated to join in 2024 at the latest, I believe is the words that were used. That will lead to 16 total teams that will be in the conference football schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Big news for the Big Ten. Big news
Yep.
for the Pac-12. Even bigger news for the pending renegotiation and the TV deal that the Big Ten will now have access to.
Yeah. Well, yes and no. I think Fox and the Big Ten Network were already leaning towards, a combination. Fox had the Big 12 or the Big 10 and the Pac 12. They had that slate of games anyway. It'll be interesting. I think a bigger question is what happens to the Pac 12.
Yeah, because USC and UCLA they were the ones that were propping up the Pac-12's TV contract and deal. They were the highest earners.
Yes.
So that's why the Pac-12 may be looking to collapse on itself after all of this goes down.
I think the big question is, where's Oregon go? What do they do? Like, if they come in, there's a lot of question marks here. I don't know how you want to attack this because we have it in quick thoughts as well. So I'm gonna let you go before I start doing my thing.
Well, one thing that's definitely going to happen is travel budgets.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this and where this goes to, not only for traveling for football, but let's think about all those other sports. Let's think about basketball, where you may be playing a game. I mean, I'm sure the schedules will accommodate appropriately this. You could be playing a game on Tuesday or Thursday and play another game on Saturday. And let's say you're Rutgers traveling from the East Coast to the West Coast, and then you have to travel back.
Yeah, that was my very first thought was, how in the hell is that gonna work? Like, and I've poked fun at the West Virginia to Texas thing forever, but like, this is ridiculous. How does a Rutgers go to Alex? What in the hell are you doing?
Making an angry face because I thought you were about to talk shit on West Virginia.
How does Rutgers go to UCLA? Like, this is going to be insane. The money there is just going to be a lot.
Especially right now, plane tickets.
Yeah.
And they don't have anyone to work to fly the planes.
Well,
Sorry, I'm a little salty for my last travels.
it's going to be rough.
I don't think they're going to have problems with this. There's going to be a Rose Bowl feel every kind of week now, Big Ten and these schools. That's how I think about it. I think that adds an extra bit of flair to the Big Ten matchups moving forward.
Yeah, I agree.
Do we think that Lincoln Riley knew this was going down whenever he said yes?
So there's two trains of thought there. A lot of people say, well, half the people say no.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's like, oh, damn, now I got out of the tough world and now I'm back in it. And then there's he did know, because that's why he went there, because now he's going to have his shot at the Big Ten, and he's got a powerhouse school to do it. So I don't know. I think I'm right in the middle. I think it's 50-50.
Alex, thoughts?
I think that this is too big of an announcement not to have rumbled in certain circles. But I don't think that anything was set in stone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think this is going to lead to divisionless Big Ten football? All said and done.
I think you have to have division. I think the more people you have, the more important it is to have division.
Yeah, I agree. And this is where I was leaning to. This is what I think. I think Notre Dame has to figure out what they're doing. I think there is a possibility, and I could be 100% wrong. There's a possibility Notre Dame could join the Big Ten, and a possibility that Oregon could join the Big Ten. And then that the divisions start making more sense. I think you're going to start seeing the super conferences a lot faster than we thought.
Yeah. This is
games.
What was that?
So,
that's the only thing that scares me is I'm gonna miss out of conference games if it gets too.
Well, if they go to 18, right? That's nine teams in conference.
What's 8?
If they go to 18 teams.
Right, that's 8 in division games.
Right.
You can do 8 in division games, 2 out of division conference games, and 2 out of conference games. That's reasonable.
Yeah. I think they pick up, if they can get Notre Dame and Oregon, the Big Ten sitting real pretty.
But I think that's why you'd have to have divisions.
And I agree. They have to keep
Can't just do a
divisions.
free for all because it's not fair to say one team plays maybe the whole bottom of the barrel of the Big Ten and the other team plays all of the top of the barrel of the Big Ten.
Yep.
And then you're at the end, you're sitting there with two Big Ten records that are not really comparable.
Yep.
I think you have to take into consideration which Big Ten, which division.
And I think Notre Dame, the addition of Notre Dame will help balance out the other side of a division. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Can't disagree. How much success will these teams experience in their first years in the Big
think
Ten?
It depends on what sport.
I'm talking about football. This is the off season, Jim. This is football.
USC, I think they're going to be a threat. UCLA,
I think
we'll see.
this would redo the USC Notre Dame type rivalry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very easily. All right. Any other football news y'all saw this week you want to chat about?
No, I mean, that was pretty major.
That was major. And I'm just still thinking about how little the numbers are getting until we have football again.
Yeah.
So this is another edition of
The off season. This is Mount Massive. So today's Mount Massive, number one, because I'm tired from the move. I didn't put a lot of thought into it. And number two, because I got into an argument with a coworker over tailgating at a game and the basic utility of it. I have decided we're going to list the top 5. These are fully opinionated based. I will go first. This is my preference. I did order these. I will start from 5 and go up. And I'll rip the Band-Aid right off. 5. I'm okay with watching a game at a tailgate under the ideal conditions. I want the perfect seat. I want the perfect weather. I want to be watching the perfect game. So like Ohio State against, I don't want to see a big time game. I want to be around friends and drinking. So if it's Ohio State against Bowling Green, okay, I'll go to tailgate for that. I don't want anything on the line. I just want to enjoy the weather and the tailgating atmosphere. That's my tailgating scenario. Don't take me to Michigan and Ohio State and tell me to tailgate. You can go screw yourself. I'm not going to do that. Too much pressure. Number 4, Las Vegas in a nice, sweet situation where I have money downstairs on the line. I can go down and collect afterwards. Number 3, at a dive bar, surrounded by a few friends, 5 or 6, and my wife. I've done that. It was fantastic. Number 2, at home in my chair with a big bowl of chili. And number 1, at the Ohio State Stadium, 411 Woody Hayes Drive, Columbus, Ohio, 43210.
Is it the Ohio Stadium?
It is in my mind.
Is it?
It's not. No, it's
I would
Ohio
expect you to
Stadium.
say the horseshoe. I mean, I know it's the same thing, but that's how I think of it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go to Alex since Muff is a jerk.
Okay. I think I'm actually kind of ordered too.
Okay.
Week. So 5 would be like in a casino on the big TV wall. You know how they have like those individual chairs with a little tray where you can like take notes and like all the games are on.
Mm-hmm.
Muff knows what I'm talking about though.
Yeah, I do. You can bring your notebook.
Yep. Number 4, my favorite bar with a couple of close friends and a Busch Light. I would include you too. Not a crowded bar.
No.
There's too much and people want to come talk to you about things not football. I would go.
Yes.
They're focused on that want to watch the game.
Right.
Number 3, on my couch with Red Zone on one TV, the Steelers on another, and a lot of snacks. All my favorite snacks. Number 2,
Okay.
Mountaineer Field, Milan Puskar Stadium. And number 1, Heinz Field, winter game, 4th quarter close game, and Renegade starts playing.
Okay.
That's Renegade. That's a thing.
It is a thing.
It's a thing. Jim, you know about Renegade?
I do not.
Oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life through the long, long.
Is that a thing? Like, do you
Oh.
Yinzers get amped for that?
Yeah,
That's like the thing.
yeah.
That
Okay.
stadium goes wild when
The terrible
Renegade,
towels start flying. Wild.
Okay.
like players talk about like that atmosphere when Renegade comes on, kind of a thing. Like former players.
All
So
right.
it's a thing. My list, I'm gonna say one is where it should be, and the other four are just kind of there. So the other four are Heinz Field, just watching a game. So I've seen Steelers games, I have seen Pitt games.
Boo. Eat shit. Sorry, it just happens.
That's fair. I understand. I think I've seen high school games there as well. I think I've seen at least one high school game there. So just being at Heinz Field, I think is just cool. Doesn't matter. I've been there in August, in September. I've been there in November. So it's just a cool atmosphere. Outside deck TV with some beers and some friends. So like my brother has this very large deck
Mm-hmm.
on the backside of his house, and he has a TV with cable. So
That's nice.
that's
I can't
it's pretty
disagree
cool.
with that. That's a good one.
That's a pretty cool, and not, you know, not a lot of people have like the outside the deck with a TV and everything to make it happen.
Yeah.
This is an odd one, I think, but I've done it and it works. Being at a bowling alley, like in bowling, while there's TVs, so it's got like that casino type atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like Alex, I've been to like Kegler's.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
You know,
Yes.
been to Kegler's and been bowling in the afternoon, and there's football on, and you don't have to be in speed bowling, right? You can just we're just sitting here
Sure.
bowling and having some drinks, and there's football on too. So it's kind of keeps everything going for you.
When you say something like Kegler's, like I'll take it.
Yeah. To a sports bar, again, a small group of friends, you know, sitting at a high top, like Buffalo Wild Wings kind of style, something like that. Getting some apps, doing the things. Underrated Applebee's. Applebee's is underrated. It's not a sports bar, but underrated.
No, but yeah, I'll give you that one.
They have
Underrated as far as like the atmosphere
and half
Sure.
price apps.
and half price apps, right? And they usually have drink specials too.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Applebee's is an underrated. It's not, again, not a sports bar, but a bar situation where you can go with a small group of people and you can probably take over the bar area. And number one, Beaver Stadium in University Park, Pennsylvania, at the Pennsylvania State University, which is actually on the stadium. Jim, it says the Pennsylvania State University.
Okay, I gotcha.
They didn't have to trademark it. They just did it.
Yeah.
They etched it in stone and said, come at us.
I tell you what, I watched the Ohio State Oregon game in the semis when they first won. Like it was the first ever.
Mm-hmm.
I watched that at a dive bar in Blair, Ohio.
Bar.
And it was probably one of my favorite memories of watching an Ohio State game outside of, sitting at home with family.
Yeah.
Because it was like at every commercial break, you would go outside and you would, smoke a cigarette and cool off with your friends. You'd go inside, you'd order around, you'd get through another series, and you would be sweating bullets. You know what I mean? It would be, and it would be like a ritual. Like the bar would empty out, come out, everybody'd be smoking. You go back in, and the stress, you'd have the whole bar erupt over a bad call. There's something to be said for the dive bar, and I think all of us have that on our list, and that's impressive. The Renegade thing at Heinz Field, you guys make that very cool. I would say, the Hang on Sloopy at Ohio State. Muff, you've been there. You've seen the OHIO.
Muff's whiteout.
The whiteout. Yes.
That's a bucket list for me.
I will say that is a thing that's on my bucket list. I am a Ohio homer through and through, but of all the places I want to go see an Ohio State game, Beaver Stadium is definitely on the list. I will dress in the full Ohio State gear, but I do want to go there. So these are all great places. The bowling alley thing I've not done. I want to do.
It's an atmosphere. It's an atmosphere
Yeah.
thing, right? Like,
Yes.
again, you're just going and like, oh, bowling has to be something we're doing while we're drinking and while we're watching football.
I couldn't do it for an Ohio State game. Like maybe the
Yeah.
Super Bowl, maybe like an Ohio State game I couldn't do. I couldn't focus enough. But like any other rinky-dink game, I probably could do that and chill. And like a Thursday night NFL game, I could probably do that. But these are great. I like all these. I can't argue with any of these. The deck thing is cool too.
Yeah, that's a really cool experience if you know somebody that has. I mean, I've seen people that even will like find a way to just put a TV out on their deck, right? You just run, and if you know if you're using an internet based cable subscriber, then just boop,
Yeah.
have
And
at it.
that's always fun too.
Yeah.
Like we watch some games. My dad has like a TV out by his pool.
Mhm.
It's not a huge TV, but it's just like the outdoor environment kind of.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's like the tailgate, but
Yeah, but
you don't have to share the tailgate with other people that are around you. It's your tailgate.
Exactly. Yes.
So it's personal. It's like a personal pan pizza.
Yeah.
Like everybody likes the big pizza, but sometimes you just want your own little pizza.
Right.
And that's what I think the deck TV atmosphere gives you. It's a personal pan pizza of football viewing.
So that's Mount Massive.
You're like,
This is Quick Thoughts.
that was much better than last week.
Yeah.
Mainly because we actually did it how we're
Yeah.
supposed to.
Yeah.
For show.
You two rehearsed before we started the segment.
We did. Welcome back, everybody, to this week's edition of Quick Thoughts. Starting in college football, touching on a topic you heard about earlier, but we'll throw back in the ring. Big Ten is adding USC and UCLA to the conference starting in 2024. What's the biggest takeaway from this move, and what additional balls does this put into motion? Jim.
I think, in my opinion, I think this is just a push for the bigger super conference, like I said. And I think this push pressure on Notre Dame to figure out, like, you got to shit or get off the pot. Like, you can't be independent anymore. That's what I.
All right. That's what Jim thinks.
Muff?
Yeah, I'm here. Are we asking me now?
Oh, yeah, I was passing the ball to you.
Okay. Bounce pass. Hey, thanks. So this is great podcasting. Yeah, I agree that this is definitely putting the super conference or super conference is at this point, maybe putting it into two major super conferences. Definitely does put pressure on Notre Dame. I don't think it puts pressure on them that quickly. I think there's always been this pressure, so I don't think it's anything new. I think this is, as far as the Big Ten's concerned, such a power play and a money move that's going to just solidify the Big Ten and the SEC as the cash cows for not for the NCAA. I mean, they're cash cows for themselves at this point, but the NCAA is going to have to really come to the reckoning. I think that's who puts the most pressure on, is the NCAA, is to figure out, okay, if they're moving in this direction, what can we do to try and save them? So, kind of, right, the PGA Tour, which we'll get into a little bit later too, they're like, oh, when Live Golf happened, it's like, oh, we found $80 million to give you more prize money and to do these different things that, just magically appeared after 1 week after Live Golf happened. It was magic. So yeah, I think NCAA is who is going to be feeling the most pressure at this point forward.
Jim, rebuttal?
No, I agree with all that.
All right, then we're out of that world into the basketball world.
Basketball Jones.
This league.
Got a basketball Jones.
Got a basketball Jones, baby. Ooh, ooh.
Are we done?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Kyrie Irving and the Nets seem to be at an impasse, as there are no current teams interested in a sign or trade deal to acquire Irving. KD comes out and says he wants out of Brooklyn and has named the teams he'd like to join. How do you feel about the situation and KD calling the shots? Muff?
Yes, there's a lot here. Kyrie, I mean, once you put Kyrie and KD and say they're both like separately dealing with their own things, them by themselves is like yeah, its own dramatic series. But them together, especially with this, is hilarious because Kyrie's like, oh, maybe I don't, maybe I want to go, but no, maybe I want to stay, which is really I want to stay because nobody's going to be able to take on my contract and is going to make this work. It's like, oh, I'll stay, and then Katie's like, oh, deuces, I'm gonna try to get out of here, which seems to be KD's like mo, right? He comes to a team, does what he thinks he can do, and then leaves, which is I think starting to become something that I think a lot of the traditional sportscasters and broadcasters and talk shows are faulting him for at this point is he's just picking up and leaving, doing whatever. And he's trying to join teams that are already established, which I think is the biggest difference between like LeBron James leaving and going places in there. So like LeBron James came back to Cleveland with a whole bunch of, well, he had Kyrie, I guess. But LeBron James, aside from, when he went down to Miami, really was not joining teams that were instant NBA championship finalist odds-on favorites. I don't think. Maybe LA a little bit, but I'm not a fan of KD moving around like this, especially when he still has time left on his contract. That's what I don't like about this.
Jim,
Who was his list of teams? Just out of
Phoenix. Phoenix was like the top. After that, I forget. I think Miami may have been on the list. It's like Phoenix, Miami, and I think there were two other teams I think he called out specifically.
does he not like the weather in New York? Like
Maybe he just doesn't like Kyrie.
I just don't understand. And I guess that, like, we love the NBA because the players have more control. And so we like that's okay. I just don't understand KD's mentality. And he's good at basketball. He is who he is. And I can understand Kyrie sometimes because he's eclectic and he is who he is. But KD, he always just comes off as like a diva to me.
yeah, and I don't know, saying these are the teams I'll play for, just be thankful you're in the freaking NBA and someone wants you to play for them.
I can't get my head around it. And I don't like him. I just don't like the guy. I don't. And I try to be like, oh yeah, he's calling a shot. No, can't do it. Sorry.
All right.
Alex,
Keeping
where's KD on your likability range?
I don't know. He's honestly in that danger zone of like indifferent.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Oh, indifferent.
I just
I don't like or hate.
There.
Just
Yes,
don't. Ooh,
exactly.
yikes.
Keeping in the NBA world and with Kyrie Irving, Kyrie and Stephen A. So more or less, Stephen A. called attention to the fact that Kyrie hasn't been showing up to earn his money and that he's hiding behind his public support and not addressing the issue head on. Stephen A. challenged Irving to a sit down to debate and argue it out. Is this for likes or retweets, or is this a real beef? Jim.
I don't think Kyrie does anything for likes or retweets. I think Stephen A does. So him challenging to sit down, yeah, that's for likes and retweets and press and ratings. Stephen A is a hype junkie. Kyrie doesn't know anybody anything. So to hell with Stephen A. Now, if Kyrie gets on and says yes, then Kyrie is his own hype machine and buying into the big wheel. And that would make me hate Kyrie. Like then he would be on the same path as KD. Now, if Kyrie says, go screw yourself, Stephen A., I'm still on the Kyrie hype train. I'm still a fan.
Muff?
Yeah, I agree that Kyrie's probably he's not chasing the court of public opinion here. Stephen A is to get the ratings, to get the views, to get everything else that goes with it. Stephen A is really just, and I think he's been on this for a while. Is pretty much like, Kyrie, you don't show up to work. This is a problem. Like, what's going to happen from now on? I don't understand. Like, what are you going to do next year? You're going to find another reason why you can't play, or you shouldn't be playing. And this is not putting any any brevity or any lightheartedness or anything towards like the whole COVID situation. Like, that was Kyrie's decision. He did what he did. He took the consequences and went with it. I mean, it was like hundreds of thousands of dollars that he was fined for, not participating and playing in those games. So I mean, he took it for what it was. But if Kyrie does buy into this and does pull a publicity stunt and engages with Stephen A more so than just like some random replies or whatever he's going to do, I would lose a little respect for Kyrie and his, like as Jim said, his eclectic personality, his individualism.
Fair enough. Keeping with basketball, but moving to the women's side, Brittany Griner's trial in Russia has started. She is openly sharing that she is scared / terrified of what may happen. Is the WNBA, NBA, professional sports doing enough to exercise influence over?
Alex, I believe it's me. I'm going to start talking while you're frozen. So we've talked about this, and now that the trial has started, definitely it's definitely interesting and telling of the situation that Brittany Griner is in, that she's saying she's scared, terrified as to what may happen, and of the situation itself. I have been, I think, pretty consistent saying that I don't know what type of influence can be exercised by professional sports, the NBA specifically, or any professional sports. I mean, the NFL, right, has some influence, and I don't think that Roger Goodell is going to get into a room with, what's his name? NBA commissioner. Somebody tell me. Nobody.
Oh, Adam Silver.
Adam Silver, yeah. I don't think they're going to get in the room and be like, hey, how can we do? How can we help each other here? So I think I'm hopeful that this will all resolve itself in a way that helps Brittany Griner get out of Russia at this point. So whatever this trial ends up being, let's just get her out. If after the trial's over, we have to start exercising influence in more ways than just the government. If the leagues start to put pressure, on the commissioners, on the government to do something more for one of their own, then so be it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can put as much pressure as you want. And I think that the leagues have all done a great job of putting said pressure on the necessary people that you can try to put pressure. At the end of the day, and we'll try to avoid politics on this show, at the end of the day, there is a war going on, like between a madman and a whole other country. Gas prices are through the roof. Things are happening in this world that are beyond the control of a lot of people. So I don't know what else can be done, but until we stop Putin from doing what he's doing, there's not a lot we can do. So, and I want her home just like everybody else does. I'm not negating that. But we need to put in a little bit of context here. And I feel bad that she got caught up with a vape pen in Russia. And I feel bad that she has to go play the sport that she's most talented at in Russia to make money, because this country doesn't pay her well to play her sport. I feel bad that she got caught up in Russia. And then a war broke out. But a war broke out. And we can't stop that right now. Do I think that our governors and senators and presidents should be doing something to get a U.S. citizen home. Yes. Still a war. I don't know what to do.
What if Roger, real quick, what if Roger Goodell, while he was in that Senate committee or whatever that was, sitting in front of those people, was like, hey, why are we sitting here talking to me about all this? What are you going to do for Brittany Griner? Like, what would have that, how would have that have played if he would have done something? That's totally out of character for him to do something like that. But like, what would have been the response?
If he didn't look at Jim Jordan and said that,
Yeah.
I would have donated some form of money to hand to God, would have put money to Roger Goodell. That would have been an epic response.
Mm-hmm.
And probably have gotten him a lot of clout with a lot of people.
Yeah. Like he could have, but instead we're going to put Dan Snyder's name card on a chair that he's not there for.
Yes.
In golf. All right, moving into the golf world. Interesting information is out of the live golf world, as it comes out that Charles Schwartzel, who won the inaugural event, has his winnings went against his guarantee. If this is how it is for all the players that get the guaranteed funds, is this still worth it? Jim.
I don't. To me.
Come again?
Explain this to me.
I got $100 million guaranteed.
Uh-huh.
I won this first event. Say the prize money I got was 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
That 10 million went against my 100 million. I don't get 100 million plus 10 million. I still get my 100 million. That 10 million goes against that guarantee.
What if after so long your winnings surpass 100 million?
Then you
start
gaining more money.
Like you're not going to get any extra money until you've won at least 100 million.
Was my 10 million more than I would have won on a PGA tour?
Yeah, their prize money is higher right now.
Still worth it.
Plus, you're going to
still worth it.
I know. Well, I'm agreeing with you actually, because you win for the pride of winning. Plus, you're going to be guaranteed that money. So even if you lose, you're not losing any money really in the situation. You're only gaining. And then you just gain like notoriety if you win.
And you're putting pressure on the league.
Muff.
So my question now is, I'm curious of what all these contracts look like with this. Say that we use the $100 million number again. Do they really get that money up front, or do they have to earn it through winnings? And let's just say, for example, I'm Charles Schwartzel and I had $100 million sign-on bonus with Live, and I play there for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and I never win enough money in the tournaments to get to that 100 million. Am I still going to get taken care of on whatever's remaining? So say I win like 30 million. Do I still get my 70, or is this some shady dealings going on behind the scenes where it's like, well, you'll get 100 million, but you have to earn it and then you can earn more money? Like, that's what I don't know. And I'm interested to see how this all goes, because let's just say 2 years from now, Live Golf folds and it comes out that like Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson, who got those huge guaranteed monies, it comes out, it's like, well, it's guaranteed, but we folded, so you don't get this money. And they got like 15 or 20 million out of the whole deal. I would just be curious how this all plays out in the end. That's what I really want to know.
I see your point.
Yeah.
I still think it's worth it. They're still getting paid more now. Like in the long run.
Well, if the long run happens, I won't disagree.
That's just how I feel. I don't know. Call me crazy.
Going on the golf, let's move to the pucks. The NHL, Colorado wins the Stanley Cup. Before they even make it out of the arena, it gets a dent when a player takes a tumble skating into a team picture. What's one thing you would do with the Stanley Cup if you had it for a day? Jim.
If I had the Stanley Cup for a day, what would I do with it? First off, I would drink from it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a given.
Yeah.
And then I would probably take it in the most obscure places. Like I would probably take it to like a cow field. Take a picture with me and a cow and the Stanley Cup. Like I would take pictures with the most weirdest shit. So I could say I had the Stanley Cup in that weird spot.
Fair. Muff?
Yeah, I would be taking it out on the golf course, and I'd be drinking from it during the entire round with a group. It would be sitting next to me in my golf cart as I drove around the course, and from there, yeah, I would be doing something different. Like, again, assuming that there's some level of protection, for the cup, because they do have like the specific people that are around it, and make sure nothing really, really stupid happens when the players get it, right? So every player on the team, and I think like the coaches and everybody get it too for a day. Like they have Stanley Cup handlers, people that travel with the cup to get it to these.
That's not true. They don't have
Yes.
bodyguards with the cup.
Jim, they sure do. Pat McAfee
Oh,
had them
ECHL
on his
game.
show, and they talked about
Yeah.
how they travel with it. There's like a handful of people that are the cup handlers.
So do I get it? How long do I get it if I'm a player?
A day. That's why
Like a full 24 hours?
you get it for a day.
So are they with me while I sleep?
I would sleep with it.
I'm saying they're not probably with you while you're in the room sleeping if you sleep with it, but if you're going out and about, they
Probably
follow
like in a
it.
car on the side of the street, like staking it out.
That's a bit much.
Take it to like the movie theater and like a romantic dinner, like on a date. Like I would like sit with my arm around it in the movie, and then we'd go to like a candlelit dinner with it directly across from me.
If I put it in like a shopping cart and I just walked around the city, like city of Pittsburgh, with it in a shopping cart, I just like pushed it around.
You can take it to Lowe's.
I would put like
That'd be
animals on
fun.
the top of it. Like if someone had a puppy, I'd be like, "Hey, let me put your puppy in the cup."
I'll take it to the Pawn Stars shop just to see what they tell me, how much it's worth.
Or if they try to tell you it's fake,
Yeah, this is fake.
like put on
This is not
disguise so
real.
then people don't think it's real.
They bring in an expert. They bring in an expert to look at the cup, and I'm just like, go. How much is these guys? If this is real,
The expert's literally just the Stanley Cup handlers that we have out front.
right?
Oh man.
All right, and one last topic in Jim's favorite world.
Yeah.
Fighting. Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell are in talks to have a box becoming a new thing. Jim, I know it's your turn, but
Because people will watch. That's why it's a new thing. And two, can you imagine this fight? Like I got Bell 100% because Adrian Peterson's kind of fragile. But Adrian Peterson might have more gas in the tank.
Really? See,
Why do you say Adrian
Peterson?
Peterson's fragile? Where does that come from?
He's older and he gets
That's why I'm
broken.
saying he has less gas in the tank.
Yeah, but he's more like, have you seen him compared to Le'Veon Bell? Like, think about the mobility.
Well, yeah, Le'Veon Bell's a little thicker.
I think Peterson's got more gas in the tank than Bell.
Le'Veon Bell has that patience, though. The patience and the explosiveness.
I mean, I'm not saying he's not explosive. It'd be a good fight. See, now we're talking about it this way. That's why people watch.
Muff, what are your thoughts on the fight?
I saw this and my immediate thought was, this is stupid.
No, Muff.
Why? I don't understand. What's Adrian Peterson? Is he like one of those former players that's broke now? Then we got to worry about it. Like, why is he looking for a payday?
Why not?
Let's go to the sport that results in even greater head injuries and CTE problems. Like, why does a retired NFL player want to go take more blows to the head with everything they know now?
To get paid.
I'm pretty sure he could sign on and play for like the CFL.
Did you see that the Jake Paul whatever brother is starting to fall through because they didn't apply, the visa fell through for the other guy?
For which Diaz?
No, not Diaz. Tony. Not Tony. Oh, Fury.
Oh,
Fury's brother.
Who is Diaz trying to fight?
Everyone.
Well, I think there was a specific. I think it was one of those types of matches. Maybe it was one of the other Paul brothers. The other Paul brother. Maybe.
I'd pay to watch that. Give me a Diaz versus the Paul brother. God, I'd love that.
That hype machine would be top notch.
Oh, good grief.
Top
But like,
notch.
do you think that if Diaz lost, would you lose faith? Like, would you no longer respect Diaz?
If
'Cause
Diaz
either A,
lost,
Like, would you say he's washed up? Would you say he took a dive? If it looked like he took a dive, like, what would you do?
is this a UFC fight or is this a boxing match? Like, that's the first question
Gross.
I have.
Boxing match.
It's
Boxing
totally
match.
it's totally different then. Diaz, I mean, they're mixed martial artists.
I don't know, man. If I saw him like lose to a Paul brother, I'd probably give up. I'd be like, I'm done with him.
So Alex, your thoughts? When you've kind of wrapped them
I'll
into
watch
this a
it
little
if
bit.
it's on. I'll watch it if it's on for the entertainment.
Yeah. UFC fight on Saturday night. There was a no contest in one of the more highly anticipated pay-per-view fights because somebody got poked in the eye.
Yeah, that's always a thing. It's some damn gloves, man. You gotta have the mobility,
Mm-hmm.
but the digits are always out.
Well, there's some people that are saying that the other fighter, I forget who it was Sugar Sean O'Malley versus somebody, that the other fighter didn't even like take the full amount of time before he's like, nah, this isn't going to happen. Which, I mean, I get it. If you get a good eye poke, like, you probably know right away that this is not going to be good
Well,
for
I'm not
you.
gonna get my ass beat even farther if I can't
Right.
see.
Right. So, I mean, I get that, but there's a lot called into question, especially since I guess there were some odds boosts for that particular fight, and obviously a no contest. I don't know how the sports books handle that in the fight world.
I think it's just you get your money back. To me, it's like a draw.
Let me see. Dave Portnoy put out something on this, I believe, because I think they had
That's how I think
a boost.
it-
Let's fill some airtime here, peeps.
This whole sports betting thing is starting to get a little twisted for me with these boosts and all that jazz. Like,
Oh, I apologize. There's nothing to do with
There's-
that. The Barstool Sportsbook had an over under on the hot dogs eaten by Joey Chestnut, and they put out a statement saying because of the protester, they refunded everybody their money on it
oh, that's nice of them.
because they're like,
What was there over under at though?
I didn't know. I
'Cause
think
as long as he hit over, he wasn't gonna eat less hot dogs. You know what I mean? Like, if
well,
he
it definitely hit the under. Like, it hit the
uh,
under hit,
I got
but
ya.
I think they refunded everybody that bet on the over
I got ya.
because of that whole deal.
Well, because that's what I was gonna say. If he hit the over, he hit the over. I mean, he's not gonna eat less hot dogs because he didn't have to choke slam a protester in the middle of the season.
All right.
Oh boy.
That brings us to the end of this episode that was chicken related. Chicken nugget eating contest will happen at some point.
At some point, this is why you need to be a loyal listener and look forward to the surprise chicken nugget eating.
I think we're gonna have to put the hype train on this. I don't think this is gonna be a surprise. I think we're gonna have to totally build this up.
Get
So,
pumped.
Get pumped.
But to get the hints, you have to be loyal to the listener.
Yeah. To know when it's gonna go down.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
follow us at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere you find the traditional podcasts. Sports Stuff, W/Jim Ampersand Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Do all the things so that you can learn when this chicken nugget eating contest will happen. And until we get there, as we continue our preparations for football season, 64 days to NFL football, 54 days to college football.
Yes.
Get the word out. And to do that, you have to tell a friend, make a friend, be a friend.